But first I'd like to get myself some rice. I know I don't like these extra chairs, but I think
For example, I'm telling you that like all like pushing out was like say the whole thing and it's not like a lot. Sorry, so it takes really quick. And 10:30 to 12. Yeah. And then from 12 to 1 each. And then I'm doing the class. And then after that, you have the afternoon to do it and do it. Or you could go for work or whatever. And yeah, and then oh yeah, I literally it's right here. Yeah, and then the only other thing is dinner. I know. Yeah.
no. Oh my gosh, not do today. Sure.
I don't think it's like
still running.
I don't know.
I didn't
Not
do it.
really
I haven't
about
done
things
it
that
yet.
I do, you know what I mean?
That's true. I feel like I'm like, I know. But I like the wheel at the same time. But then.
I did not get my
What
shower,
about happened?
but I did sleep. Just like every day something else happens. I felt
Maybe
probably
that's
like
cute, right?
Yes, I was saying, I think it's cute.
I don't know, like maybe next Tuesday.
I have babysitters.
We didn't know that you were waiting to go to sleep. We would have stopped talking about
Oh, Sarah, I just.
I
I was saying it's really cute. I'm not free now, but like possibly next Tuesday, if she still needs someone.
Okay, and then you were like,
Oh, would you like your kittens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wants to go.
So like she needs Friday, I guess. She needs Saturday.
Where's that point?
They're like, I
She
want
needs
to.
it today and tomorrow.
Either way, in like a little bit, so why should I go?
Morning. Morning. We're on page 163. This is baking.
In a way.
Yeah. Okay. Page 163. And that is, it says here, baking, it says it's bishul, which is cooking. And the last step of the making of the dye it was then dissolved in hot water, cooked up, and then the wool was placed in it. So the first 11 steps, going through the plowing and processing all of these herbs and plants, until we come to the final step. We had last week, it was made into a powder, and then added a liquid to it, was made into a bar. And now that when it was ready to be used, the bar was placed in the boiling water, and that is the malacha of bishul, cooking. And the malacha is such that we're using fire to change the composition of the item that is placed in the fire. So that would include cooking and baking and frying and roasting. So all of these activities go into the same category. Then we have on the next page the toldos that are also Torah prohibitions. And that would be melting metal or melting wax or tar, then hardening something with fire goes into this category as well. That would be with earthenware, making pottery, and making metal to glow would also be a part of this malacha. So whether it is by fire or electricity, both of these would go into this category. The cooking with something that was heated by the sun directly does not go into this category. So therefore, if someone were to take a cold glass of water, put it out into the sun, and it would warm up, no transgression was made. However, the Rabbanon did make a safeguard. The safeguard is that indirect cooking by sun is forbidden. So let's take an example. Let's say we have a frying pan. So whether it is on the fire or it was heated by fire, that is considered the same category as cooking. So if someone takes a frying pan, puts it on the fire, takes it off the fire, and then cracks an egg in it, and now we're going to have fried eggs, this is a Torah prohibition. Even though when you were frying the egg, the frying pan was off the fire, however, since it was heated by the fire, so whether it's on the fire or it's off the fire, the fact that it was heated by fire, that has the same status. So that is a Torah prohibition. Now, what happens if you take a frying pan and you put it on the sun? In California or any of the other places, or during the summertime where something really heats up, it's able to get that hot that you were able to take the frying pan that was heated by the sun, bring it into the house, then crack an egg in it, and halachically, that would be permissible because it's not through the fire that the frying pan heated up, was through the sun. However, as far as those who are inside the house, do they know the difference? No. Usually an egg being fried in a frying pan. So in that case, the Rabbanan said that you cannot use the sun heat indirectly. It's only directly if you put something out in the sun, only then if the sun will heat it up, then that would be permissible. Anything that was heated by the sun is rabbinically forbidden. So we have the solar bakers. Anyone familiar with that? No, okay. It's a box that you put out in the sun, and the sun heats up the box, and it has reflectors inside. So you're not allowed to use a solar baker on Shabbos because, again, it's not directly through the sun. The sun is heating up that little box. Whatever you put inside will cook through that solar box. So the solar box cannot be used. The only thing that you could do is put something out in the sun and have that heated up. That would be permissible.
Wait, so if you live in a place that it gets really hot, you could actually like cook on Shabbos outside? Like when
Yeah,
you
if
put
it's-
a pan on the stone or something?
Yeah, as long as it's going to be directly from the sun. It's not going to heat up the pan, and the pan is going to heat up the food. Other than that, it would be permissible.
No, I'm saying like if you put a pan outside on a stone and there's the sun.
I know, but what is it? Is the sun rays going to directly cook the food? Or is the sun rays going to heat up the pot? And then the pot is going to cook. It has to be directly, the sun rays themselves going straight onto the food, and that's going to process the food. Yes.
It's like almost impossible.
Okay, so that's how you can put it. You could put out some cold water outside and have that warm up.
Because if you even crack an egg on a sidewalk, the sidewalk's gonna cook the egg.
So if it is right, so if it would be, so if the sidewalk is the one that's so it's not through the sun, it's the sidewalk that's frying the egg. That would be forbidden. So it would be if you would have something that is heat resistant. You put that out, and you put the egg on top of that, and then then that's coming directly from the sun because since it is heat resistant, that itself is going to be cold, and that's going to be.
What about like if you take the pan and you're holding the pan, but the pan also heats up in the sun and the egg heats up?
So that would be.
Is it okay?
So it matters how much,
Because it's cooking from the sun, but it's also heating up the pan.
I know,
That's
so
cooking at the same time.
that would be an issue. So it's very. I'm just bringing out this idea. I don't know how practical it is, but yes.
I just want to clarify that, did you say that when if you take the frying pan out in the sun, halachically, it's fine, but rabbinically, the rabbis say,
That's
don't
correct.
do it, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Okay. No. Now, cooking is not only through the fire that is cooking directly, whatever it is. In other words, you have now a pot of water, put that on the fire. So the fire is heating up the pot is heating up the water. All of this is considered cooking because it's coming through the fire. Now, any activity to speed up the cooking is also a total prohibition as a part of the cooking. So the cooking is not only putting the pot onto the fire, which that is definitely cooking. You have the fire going, the food is raw, you take and put it on the fire, that's cooking. What if you have a blech? Fire is covered with a metal sheet, and the food that's in the pot is not fully cooked. So then, what would be the halacha? You leave it. So then we do have the rules of putting something onto the blech, putting something onto the covered fire. At what point can you put it on Friday on the covered fire? So either it is fully raw or fully cooked. It's in between, then that's a gray area because it's very easy to transgress the cooking. So now let's take a couple of steps. So let's say you have something that is not fully cooked, it's on the blech, and you push it closer to the fire. What is that considered? Cooking. Now, what are other methods that if something is on the fire already, something that will hasten the cooking? What are some of the activities that would be considered cooking, even though the pot is already on the fire. Besides pushing it closer, what else would be? What? Stirring, okay, stirring. The fact that you're taking the ingredients that's on the bottom, bringing it to the top, bringing the top to the bottom, that is hastening the cooking. So stirring is also called cooking. So something that is on the fire cannot be stirred. What else would be considered making it quicker?
Maybe like adding, I don't know if it's quicker, but like adding like salt or like, I don't know, ingredients like.
So, but that would be you're cooking the ingredients. That's in itself
Okay.
is happening. Now, if something,
Covering it,
let's hear.
put it covered.
Okay, you're putting on a lid, that's correct. So if you have a pot that's without a cover, it'll take a certain amount of time to cook. If you put a cover on it, it's going to make the cooking time quicker. That is called cooking. So something that's not fully cooked, putting a lid on or taking off the lid. So taking off the lid is fine. You're not making it cook faster. But what you took off to see what's happening there, and then putting it back, that would be forbidden. Taking it off was not an issue, but since it's not fully cooked, putting now back the lid, now you're cooking. So these are things to be concerned about. If it's not fully cooked, then any activity that you're doing now is cooking. So taking food out of a pot that's on the fire, even if it is fully cooked, then we don't recommend that. So that's right.
So you can't lift off the lid of the phone pot and put it to the side?
If it is fully cooked, there are those who have that stringency, yes. Others say you could, if it's fully cooked, you know that it's fully cooked. In other words, in the morning, you could check to see how it's feeling.
Yeah.
And you peek inside, not to take it off, but you can peek inside and see if it's, not burning or something. But again, you would do that the next day, so to make sure that you're not cooking. Now, let's take you. You do have your cholents, and you have your soup at night, and not all the guests are here whom you want to serve the soup. What can you do to take it, serve, and then put it back on the fire? So what are the steps that have to be taken? Yes.
If you don't like put it down.
Okay, not to put it down. Yes.
You have to like always be holding it.
Okay,
With
holding
one
on
hand
to
on
it.
the pot.
Okay, holding on. What else?
Having intention to put it back.
Intention to put it back. What else?
Make sure it doesn't cool down a lot.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So we've mentioned that when you're taking it off, you take it off with the intention that you're going to put it back. Number 2, you're going to be holding on to it. Number 3, by the time you put it back, it's still going to be hot. Number 4, which should be number 1, is make sure it's fully cooked. If you're taking it off before it's fully cooked, you can't put it back because then you're cooking. So you have to make sure it's fully cooked, and then also that the fire is covered. Yes.
What if some of the vegetables, if they're not fully cooked, we could eat them raw too, so it's technically cooked and it's fine to eat it, but like if you cook, it's gonna get soft.
No. So something that is raw,
It's not
it
like
goes
raw,
into,
right?
I know, yeah, yes. So here we go. Something that is raw and it could be eaten still goes into the category of cooking. Something that is not fully cooked, not fully cooked vegetables that even though you could eat them as is, since you are cooking them, they have to be fully cooked to be considered that you're able to in order to be able to move the pot closer to the fire. Okay, so now, yes, your question.
But along with that, wouldn't, like if you leave something like cooking, even if it's fully cooked,
it'll eventually just keep heating, it'll burn.
So that's called, yes, it's called the stomach b'yachaloi. It means even though it reached its fully cooked status, leaving it on further, it's going to become tastier. That itself is permissible. The fact that it's fully cooked, so then it's reached its status of being cooked, and then even though you take it off and put it back, and it's going to become more tasty, that is still permissible.
At what point is the vegetable considered fully cooked? It doesn't need to be like mush, or could it be like semi not mush?
Right. Yeah, well, when you have a potato, you know when the potato is ready and when it's not ready. When you have a sweet potato, you know when these vegetables are ready. The carrots, I'm just saying, it's a carrot. It has to be a cooked carrot, not a half semi-cooked carrot. Even though some people like to eat semi-cooked carrot, but if it's semi-cooked, it's not fully cooked. And you can tell a cooked carrot, a cooked potato, a cooked, right? I mean, we know what it is. You stick your fork in, you know if it goes or not. Yes. Okay, we're going to come to it. We're taking step by step. Okay, we'll get to that. Okay. Now, before we come to that as well, once something is fully cooked, can it be moved closer to the fire? We're putting it's on now on a blech, on a sheet, metal. Can it be pushed closer to the fire? So the answer is, if it's fully cooked, it may be pushed closer to the fire. In other words, you want it to be hotter, you could, since it is fully cooked. So again, this would go into the case of nitztamik b'yafalai. It's being cooked better. In fact, that's on a higher heat. You are permitted to move it closer to the fire. So going back again, when you take off the pot and you want to put it back in a permissible way, you're not restricted to put it back in the same spot that it was previously. You could put it closer to the fire. There are two opinions of when it is on the fire, on the putting it closer. Okay, this is our fire. Now, how close? So if it's initially the pot, initially, I'm not going to get a mark for my art. If initially the pot is closer to over the fire, then all opinions say that you could push it as far as you want. You're not restricted in any way. You could push it directly over the fire as well, as long as partially it was over the fire. However, what happens if originally okay, this is our pot. How close can you push to the fire? So there are two opinions. One says samach la'esh, means close to the fire, but not directly over the fire. And the others say that you're not restricted, could be ala esh as well. So that is something you would have to consult with your halachic authority of how close it could be over the fire. So if it's initially over the fire, then you can push it all the way over. But if it's not over the fire, so then there are two opinions of how close it could be moved to the fire. You could move it as close as, according to all opinions, as long as it's not over the fire. Again, it's fully cooked, as long as it's not over the fire. And others say that you could move it over the fire as well. This is something that's controversial. You'd have to check.
But even if you like put it back over the fire and you're potentially heating it up or changing its temperature and like it starts to boil and stuff, like wouldn't that not be permissible?
It's still permissible, yes. In other words, because it's fully cooked. It is fully cooked.
Changing the state.
That's okay. So here we go to that's a topic that we're going to be covering as well. Yesh bishul acha bishul, if something was fully cooked, cooking it further, is that considered cooking or not? That's an issue, and it's on which we're going to be covering as well. Difference between a solid and a liquid, how hot the liquid is. These are items that we're going to be covering. So now let's get back to we're going to now return a pot that was fully cooked, and we're putting it now back onto the blech. So the first thing was it's fully cooked. Second thing is that the fire is covered. We don't put something on an uncovered fire. Number 3, the food is still hot. Now, number 4 is your intention was to put it back. Now, when we said also we have to show and indicate that we want to put it back. How do you do this? By holding it. So now depending on how heavy the pot is, so if it's something that you could hold in one hand, then ladle it out, empty it out, that would be fine. If you have 2 people, one person will be holding it, the other person will be ladling it. That's a number 2. Number 3 is that you're putting it in such a manner that your holding makes a difference. So either we're putting it, again, we don't want it to spill and anyone to get hurt. There's a safety concern here as well. So we're not going to do things that it's going to put us in danger, not stuff you don't want to get hurt. So we had number 1 was something that has a handle, you're able to ladle it yourself, or if you have a teapot that's on the blech, that's the way you take it off and you pour it into your cup, then you put it back. That was where you're actually holding it. Number 2 is that you have 2 people, one person is holding it, the other person is serving. Number 3 is that you're going to put it down. You can't hold it suspended, so you're going to put it down. The ideal thing is to put it to hold it in such a way that your holding makes a difference. So if I'm holding it over here, if I'm able to let go, it will fall. In that case, my holding does make a difference, and that is really holding it, right? Now, what happens if you're afraid to do that? So then if you put it on an angle, again, your holding makes a difference. These are all different scenarios. What happens if it's a big cholent pot and you're afraid to take any of these chances, then in such a case, just holding on to it would be sufficient. Okay, so we're going according to the ideal way, where it's easy to do, or the case where it's very, very difficult and it becomes a bit dangerous, so then holding on to it is your indication that you're putting it back. Now heating something up, what is considered hot? What is considered hot? So at the language, how it's used is yatziledesboi. Your hand recoils if you're going to keep your finger in the hot item. You're going to recoil. It's too hot to keep your finger there. So and another definition that the Gemara gives is that the case shaltinik nichves, if you were to put this hot item on the stomach of a small child, it would burn the child because the skin is very sensitive. So then that's called yatziledis, but that's considered hot. That's considered the beginning of cooking. So let's see, can someone bring a hot? Where's the urn? How far is the urn? Bring some hot water, and we'll see what the temperature is. Downstairs. Someone bring up some.
Let's cool down.
You want a hot cup of water?
Yeah, a hot cup of water.
Oh.
We'll see how hot this is not very accurate, but I think more or less we can get the now the temperature that if something is we have the to know the temperature is bringing something up to the temperature of yatziledis. That's considered the beginning of cooking. That would be forbidden. If it's less than that temperature, even though it is warm, it's not considered bringing it up to cooking. And we'll have a lot of different situations where this will make a difference. So we have the bringing something or leaving something in a place that could become this temperature, then this itself is considered already a forbidden act. In other words, let's say we have, you come again from the rain and your garment is saturated with water. Standing next to the radiator, are you allowed to put it next to the radiator where the radiator is that hot that it's going to cook up the water that's in your garment? So you can't dry it. You can't dry it there. But then again, the question is, how hot? So the question is, how hot could the radiator be, or how hot could the garment become to be considered that it's starting to cook? Less than that is just warming it. It's not cooking it. So let's.
What about a dry garment?
It's fine. A dry garment you could put there, and it would be fine.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay,
sometimes
so this
it's, like,
is-
nice to have, put it something with it's.
Where did that thermometer come from?
From my pocket.
Oh, you just keep a thermometer on you like I don't know.
I brought it.
This is so social.
Okay. Now,
It's called hands on radio.
That's the point.
so now initially, there are different opinions of how low the temperature could be that's considered already Yatziledes by that it's uncomfortable to keep your finger in that heat. So it ranges from 104, 110, or 113. Those are the different minimums that it goes to. I think over here they have with Celsius, it goes to 40, 43. So that is the temperatures that we're speaking about. So here we have, this temperature went up to 160. 160. That's where, this is where this temperature is. The, could I have, is there an empty cup that we could sort of use as our experiment?
Kaya, do you have a cup?
I think it's gonna melt it.
There's
Yep.
a plate.
No, I want to bring the temperature down. I want to bring down the temperature. We want
Oh.
a cup that we could put our finger inside and see how hot it is.
Wait, I'll go grab a.
Okay, thank
You
you.
wanna add regular water?
No, I just, okay, so if something is going to reach that temperature of Yatziledes boy, then that's considered the beginning of cooking, which could not be done. Also, if something is warm, so putting back to the fire, as long as it's warm enough to be able to eat, so that also would be permissible.
The thing that she said on the pot, putting like here, is when you want to serve.
And you want to put it back.
And then you put it back.
Yes, if you don't want to put it back, you just put it down and they'll be right. Thank you very much. Okay, so we are going to be speaking about more at length on this topic, which is Kli Rishon, Kli Sheni, Kli Shlishi. Kli Rishon is the first vessel in which the food actually was heated up. That's number one. Kli Sheni, the first cup, the first vessel to which it was transferred. And Kli Shlishi is the second vessel to which it was transferred. So this is number three from the initial urn that the water came from. So the urn is Kli Rishon. The second cup, the first cup is Kli Sheni. This is Kli Shlishi. So it makes a difference in adding different ingredients to the hot water. So this was 160 when we brought it up, it was 160. We transferred it to a kli shlishi, and the temperature is dropping. Right now, it is 150. So just transferring it 10 degrees dropped, and we'll see how long this sort of, it's going to gradually drop. We'll see how long it takes. So let's see what happens in 5 minutes. Right now it's already, it's dropping already. It's going back down to 140. So in the kli shlishi, the temperature is dropping because the vessel itself is cooling off the liquid. Yes.
I'm just wondering, can you spell like the and the first top like the cliche, the cliche, and like what the cliche, and like which one's the earnest?
We're not meant to put ingredients in until the temperature is low enough.
So this we're going to discuss. There are different items that a low degree of temperature will make a change. So let's take an egg. An egg will start cooking, even if it's not, on a pot on the fire, but putting it into a kli shlishi that could also, you could see when you crack the egg, you'll see it started already to change. It's not that clear white anymore. It becomes cloudy because the hot water did change it. So
you can't do that?
that's correct. We'll speak about different items that are at a low temperature is able to make changes in them. These are all things that we'll cover. Yes.
What were the temperatures that you mentioned that are the lowest?
The lowest would be 104, the 110, and 113. Those are the three temperatures that are given by the halachic authorities as far as we consider Yatzalet is like.
So there's three different ones?
Well, it's one matters which according to which authority you follow.
Like what?
So let me see over here. I believe this is based on this book is based on Chabad standards. And let's see what they say over here. I think they say 113. Let me see. Let's see if they give you a number. $110. Over here it is 110. So we'll go by that. 110 it is.
Oh, yeah.
So we have clearly shown is our initial one. That's the urn. Kli sheni is the second vessel to which it's placed, the first cup. Kli shlishi is the third vessel from the urn. And let's see where it's up to. We dropped to 140. Dropped to 130. Okay, so the temperature is going down. And let's see if we can keep on further. There are two opinions of how it cools, what to take into consideration. Is it the actual vessel itself that it's cooling down the liquid that's putting aside, or the fact that it's going in the air that itself is also cooling it down? So there are two ways when you're transferring from one to the other. So that's also having the difference. What I'm trying to do is get it to about
Do you want to
110.
add some cold water to it?
Yes, okay, yes, so let me just see where it's up to now. And let's add a little cold water. Thank you. Oh, it's nice and cold. Let's see, we don't want to go too cold. We're almost there.
Hey, Robert, are we supposed to do this every time?
No. I just want to give you an idea.
Okay.
No one has to. This is just, once you have sort of the idea of what it is, then that's sufficient.
This is just like the warm water and then you just pour it on it.
Okay.
I think in a regular.
This is
cup,
110.
it Cools down much.
110. If one of you, anyone wants to put their finger inside, you can pass it around. This is just to have an idea of what it is. This is 110. It also will make a difference when you just sort of have an idea of this temperature, that when your sponge, your milk sponge goes into your fleshika, so it says that if the water is hot, then it won't make a transfer. If the water is not hot, it won't make a transfer. This would be the amount that's considered hot, huh? This is considered hot. If it's less than that,
You don't want to put your finger.
no. Just giving you now just to have an idea of what it's like. That's all. So this is the definition of hot. Okay.
I thought that was when you had to put your thing, and this is not so.
Okay, but keep it there for a long time.
Yeah.
You can put it in, take it out, but you're not going to keep it there for a long time. It gets uncomfortable.
That's perfect shower.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. So
Yes.
it's still gonna be hot by the time you get into the third vessel.
Yes, but but the temperature is it's not maintaining the temperature. It is diminishing. In order for something to cook, it has to maintain a certain amount of temperature to be able to make that change. If it's constantly dropping, it's not going to be able to heat up the item that's inside. So in the cliche, it's going to maintain it for a longer time. Cliche, the temperature is dropping. So to begin with, it dropped already. First, it dropped already 10 degrees immediately, and then constantly it's getting less.
Temperature that's outside.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's.
That's Yatzalet is biting.
Why am I putting in three fingers?
No, but apparently you're enjoying the hot water.
I don't know.
Let's see what it's now.
Wait, is that what
By the
is
time it came here,
That's the burning the baby's tummy.
I would not serve that to my baby. That's considered. That would be too hot for a little baby. Eat them raw.
it's supposed to be scalding. It's supposed to be scalding. It's not supposed to be comfortable.
You're allergic to hot water.
Actually, what happened was
Are you serious?
Okay, let's,
Hello.
could we take the attendance? I did not take the attendance.
I can do it now.
Do that, please.
But someone's help.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe you'll ask chocolate.